Hey guys, so hopefully you can hear me. So just at the farm doing some practice shooting because I don't get to shoot a lot. Not to mention the fact that I don't use firearms in my hunting for Zed heads. So recently we had a bit of an issue in Vancouver where somebody had found two brothers, actually, two really nice brothers from Mexico had found a container that apparently had belonged to Unit 731 of the Japanese Imperial Army. And if you didn't know what 731 is, it's kind of like the, sort of like the Thule Society, but worse in that they actually experimented on people. They're very much like some of the experiments done on Jews and so-called undesirables in Auschwitz. I apologize, you guys are going to wobble a little bit, but I'm using what you're sitting on as a bench rest. And let me double check that. The rifle I'm using has had some issues today, so I'm mostly testing it out as well. Yeah, anyways, there's a little target way downrange, so hopefully you guys can see it. But yeah, 731 had this container marked subject 49, and that's why I'm happy I got the metal target behind me. Anyways, subject 49 was a Shang-Chi that got loose. And the Shang-Chi, in case you didn't know, is a type of Chinese zombie vampire thingy. And they are unpleasant. Obviously, I need more practice. It's an old Stevens rifle, so it's a semi-auto and a bolt action, but the semi-auto doesn't work on this. Damn. Pulling it to the left. And it's had a few failures to feed and a few failures to extract, so I'm just trying to see if I can get it sighted in. Always to the left, okay? So I'm going to adjust the sights a little bit. But yeah, so they've got the left. I'll go right a tiny bit. One click, 1/4 at 100 yards. But yeah. There we go. The brothers found this thing. Oh, shit. Yeah, there's a failure to feed. Brothers found this thing and took off the seal accidentally. And let's get you guys back downrange so you can see my horrible, horrible shooting. The Shang-Chi got loose. Anyways, the Vancouver PD, with the help of, ironically enough, those same brothers, was able to deal with it. It had a seal on its forehead, and one of the brothers, Oso Vega, the bigger of the two, and Rudy. And I actually had known Rudy from an old job, like not Zed-related, company called Artistic Steel way back in the day. Didn't even know he moved to Vancouver. But his brother got pretty badly injured, and I guess Rudy figured out what this thing was pretty quick. And Shang-Chi are kind of vulnerable because they're kind of stupid in some instances. They hop, but they also eat hearts. But if you throw down rice in front of them, they will stop to count the rice, very much like some of the bruyas in Hispanic cultures. And in this case, what Rudy did was threw salt at it, didn't do a damn thing. Threw rice on the ground, that worked, and then found a tomato which this thing was convinced was a heart, and it started eating it long enough for Rudy to slap the seal back on its forehead. But anyways, back to the whole reason I'm telling you guys this is we had a Z conference. And what a Z conference is, sometimes we'll have events that we have to have a conference about. Damn, low. So it's sighted on, now I'm just shoot low. I'm also trying to make sure I'm not knocking you guys around. There we go. Knocked over my target. Anyways, the conference involves a bunch of us getting together and discussing what happened and what we could do the next time. Well, I'd never been to a Z conference before. Anyways, Z conference. It's like I have to readjust you guys again. But yeah, Z conference. Basically annoying as fuck. Because what we got is a bunch of zombie apologists that fucking show up and say that we shouldn't hunt zombies because they're people too. Now, if you've been listening to these long enough, you know that yes, I have run into zombies that act like people at least once. So I can sometimes see their point. God, that's a piece of shit target. But I'm not going to go down there and fix it again. I'm just going to finish telling the stories and you guys... God damn it, did you guys not get to see that one? Fuck a duck. Anyway, target's gone. So, I'll just give you some pretty pictures. There we go. There. Pretty pictures. This way you don't have to see my ugly mug. You get to see down the laneway a bit. But yeah, anyways, zombie apologists basically say, you know, they're people too, and you shouldn't kill them. And apparently, and I did not know this, because I don't handle politics side of anything, but zombies have their own lobby groups. And it's ironic, because the lobby groups are known as pro-lifers. But they're dead. So, how does that work out? Anyways, these pro-lifers, the zombie lifers, That was perfect. It was the last round in the magazine anyways. The zombie lifers come on out, and they give this whole rousing speech about how zombies are, people too, and it's just because of unfortunate circumstances and everything. Now, we've never had a major outbreak in Canada that hasn't been contained. There was the Pontypool event. That one was contained, but kind of, sort of drastically. Just about to dry fire an empty round. Okay, safety's on. But yeah, we've never had an actual outbreak. So I don't get why these apologists are really at this thing. But the third day of the conference, this conference was in Vancouver, just because that was where the most recent event is, and that's kind of how it happens, so that you get everyone from that event to give you a report. Now, since I didn't have to go out there, they brought me in for the after-action report, and the officers on duty did a great job, and so Rudy and Oso are now stationed in Vancouver for my job, which is great. If they need help, they'll call me up, but those guys are actually tough as fucking nails. Back when I worked with Rudy at Artistic, he was already like a little brick shithouse, and he could easily pick me up, but he hated being picked up because he was like 120 pounds of pure muscle. And so when a guy like 6 foot, 210 would pick him up, he'd just get pissy because it's what his brother used to do. His brother was like 6'3" and 300 pounds. He looked like he could drink a keg after, bench pressing 4 kegs on a stick kind of thing. Anyways, these guys are now in charge of Vancouver because of how they handled the Shaanxi event. So I did their after-action report, gave them a couple of tips and tricks from other things, gave them all the notes that I had, gave them copies of the notes that I had received, which was like a couple of books and a few journals. Gave them a couple of people to talk to, just for things that they might not have experience with, and of course, anytime they can call me. But it means that Vancouver is pretty much off my books. If there's anything they can't handle, they will call me. Anyways, day 3 of the event, and we've already gone over why Canada has a zombie response plan and the zombie response unit, which was where the Sarge was from, and why there's Zed hunters like me, and how private contract has worked, especially in the United States and in Europe, but in Canada, we do it a little bit differently. I guess the private contractors in Russia were actually not private contractors or something like that, but that's whole other stories. Especially given what's going on now, I'm not going to tell stories about either one of those countries until after the current conflict is resolved. Yes, I have emotions about it. Anyways, day 3, they've done their presentation, and then it's the zombie apologists. And I'm just going to call them that because I don't have any fucking respect for them. It's their turn again. So they get up on podium, and they're trying to convince us how they're still people, and I get it. I really do get it. If you've lost a family member to a Zed event, or if they've been turned for whatever reason, either an infectious Zed type or a resurrection type, or they were experimented on, anything along those lines. Like there's so many types. One day I'll go through the types with you guys. Like the fungal type was a new one, right? But anything like that, I get it. Yeah, your family member is still moving about, so of course you're gonna want to think of them as alive. But yeah, anyways, they had a fucking stupid surprise for us, and they pulled out a box about the size of a refrigerator, and they opened the front, and inside was one of the family members of one of the apologists who had been turned in a recent event in northern BC that, as far as I was aware, had no incidences. Basically, sort of like Wild Zed popped up You see a wild slime. It was that kind of thing. Anyways, it fucking attacked the family member who was trying to hug it. It ripped out his fucking throat right then and there on the stage. Now, it's a political event. There's a lot of politicians, and there was a couple of premiers there, as well as some cabinet ministers and MPs. So nobody was allowed to have any weapons. There was RCMP providing security and some of the Canadian Forces guys, but thankfully the zombie response team was there because it's a zombie event. They had a representative and he was armed. And he put 2 in the Zed's head and then 2 in the apologist's head. And that apologist group freaks the fuck out and starts running towards him. Dumbest idea ever. Thankfully, he was enough on the ball that he put his gun back in his holster and he pulled a taser and tased one of them. The rest of them just stopped. But yeah, currently there has been no change to Canada's zombie plan, and the zombie apologists are quiet for another year. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you right now. And if I'd had that Target hold up a little bit longer, I might have told you another story. But yeah, so politics stupid. And if you've got experts on something, maybe fucking listen to them. I did a presentation too, and thankfully it was on the fungal event. So, you know, it was adding the new fungal type to the registry. But yeah, anyways, politicians stupid, and Canada's great, except for the zombies.